Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Edric Show. I am your host, Edric Jerome. This is the place for intelligent conversation with interesting people. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and you will be notified when we post content each and every week. My guest is award-winning filmmaker Sam Solomon. His film, My Little Caregiver, won the award for Outstanding Dramatic Short in the prestigious 2023 Micheaux Film Festival held this summer in Los Angeles. Based on a true story, My Little Caregiver is a reflection on the power of a loving mother-son relationship through tough circumstances, blending the memories of harsh reality with childlike fantasy through the perspective of a 10-year-old boy. It is a remarkable and very moving film. Sam is also a talented actor, dancer, and the author of I Guess I Am Lonely, his first self-published collection of poetry and prose. Sam, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Oh, you
My,
make me sound so cool.
No, man. No, hey, this is the place for intelligent conversation with interesting people. So
Yeah.
you fit right in.
Thank
Uh,
you.
First of all, congratulations on receiving the award, Outstanding Dramatic Short Film at the Micheaux Film Festival, named after Oscar Micheaux in Los Angeles this summer. Quite an accomplishment. How did it feel when they announced your name and your film as the winner?
Oof. Oh man. To be honest, I didn't even process it.
Hmm.
I remember I was sitting right next to my co-director, Gold, and his fiance, and when they said the name of the film, they were all cheering and they like stood up and were like, yeah. And then my face, I was like, okay, they called us. Like, are you sure? Like I was just in pure disbelief. So it really is so cool. I feel like artists say that all the time. Like, oh, I wasn't expecting to win anything, but I like genuinely, genuinely wasn't expecting it. So it felt really good. It's such a personal film. So it's the hope that people connect to it, but you never know. But yeah, it was truly a blessing to go up there and have the award. It's so cool.
I had the opportunity to see it during the screening down at the Micheaux Film Festival, and I came up to you. I think you were taking some pictures or something, and I said, "Hey," I just pounded my heart. I said, "This one, an amazing story, man. You've captured it. It's unique.
Thank you.
It's about a subject that people don't talk a lot about, which is caregivers, which I have a question about. I want to get to in just a second. So again, you and your team should be commended for this film. It's an amazing, amazing piece of work.
Thank you. Yeah.
Um, it's based on a true story of your own experiences caring for your mother. So, how were you able to take those experiences that you went through as a child and translate that into your film in order to tell this particular story?
Yeah. I just kept making it more and more personal. I think when I started writing it, it was very like the outline was just very like I knew I wanted to tell a day in the life of a story about me and my mom. I didn't know the trajectory of where the story was going to go. And I think with each draft, it just got more and more personal. But I really wanted to reflect on my mom. She was my biggest cheerleader growing up. She was probably the one who supported my career chasing the arts more than anyone in my life. And yeah, she was just always my biggest cheerleader. And I wanted to, she passed away in 2019. And I knew I always wanted to tell a story about her. And I think I just, I wanted to tell like a short story about her entire life, but I was like, it's just not a realistic scope to, and I don't even know her full life story. I couldn't, possibly do that in a 15-minute short film. But, if I showed a day in the life of just us spending time together and showing the realistic aspect of what child caregiving was like, then maybe I could, kind of highlight my life a little bit and highlight her. Um, I kept making light of the situation too, because I was aware of it is really scary to put yourself out there and be so vulnerable. And I didn't want it to come off exploitive, but I also didn't want it to come off surface level. It's a really fine line that you have to toe. But I just wanted to be as authentic as possible to my experience. And So even in the script, you know, making light of situations like including myself not wanting to fold laundry and not knowing
Right.
how to, and like eating cereal with ice cream because I couldn't cook a proper meal because I was like 10, you know. Just like making fun of myself and making light of the situation. I think it was very vulnerable to do that, but I'm really grateful that I did. I think it was very cathartic bringing it to life. Yeah.
You mentioned your age when you were actually going through this with your mother, and caregiving and caregivers in general is such a it's such an emotional task to put on someone when they're taking care of someone, because it's based in love, but it's also a lot of hard work and it's emotional and it's really a powerful situation to be in. People who have taken care of loved ones, especially those who are getting close to the end of life. There are a lot of emotions and feelings and things you have to go through to make sure that that person's comfortable. But you went through all of that as a 10-year-old boy. So tell me about that experience and how were you able to take on that challenge at such a young age?
Yeah, it was tough. Um, it was tough. I feel like there's no like easy way to like there is no rule book, you know, for how
Right.
to handle that situation. And it was a lot of healing that I had to do after my mom's passing. Because I feel like, you know, part of you, you're a kid, you don't want to grow up fast, but I had to grow up fast, you know, and there are moments where I wanted to hang out with my friends. I wanted to go out. I wanted to do all these things that I couldn't do. And so, you know, part of me felt as a kid, you know, upset about that. But then at the same time, I couldn't take care of my mom the way that I fully wanted to, or, you know, her health was declining and there was nothing I could do about that. Um, and I blamed myself for that for a while. So it was a lot of healing that came from that. But I really want people to know that they're not alone. I think that was the main thing that when I was going through that time, I wasn't even thinking about having a career in the arts. Like I was just thinking about my mom and getting through day-to-day life. It was purely survival mode. So um I felt really hopeless at times, but now looking back on it, I wish I could tell myself that like everything will be okay. Things are going to be fine. It's going to work out. But it is hard. It's hard, particularly for Black communities too, which is why another reason why I wanted to make this film. I feel like Black communities in particular don't always have proper access to healthcare, proper finances to afford the best nurses, the best caregivers, you know, to care for their loved ones. And then with the pandemic, so many people can probably relate. Um, so I felt like you know, it felt like a duty in a sense to tell this film. Um, but but yeah, it definitely was hard, and I'm just grateful that you know the film is a reflection on looking back on those moments and also appreciating my mom for the moments that I took for granted when I was young. You know, like, oh, I wish I could have had, you know, someone cook me a meal every day, you know, and
Mhm.
it's like, or mundane things that, you know, you take for granted, like playing cards, you know, it's like, okay, I'm bored of doing this, you know. But, you know, as an adult, me looking back on it, I'm like, oh gosh, like I would love to play cards with my mom again, you know. So it's just it's just the process, you know, of healing and growing up and just showing it for what it is and not judging yourself or beating yourself up about it, but just accurately depicting that life for what it was.
The film, in addition to just the technical aspects, the look of it, and just it's a beautifully shot film. Um, some amazing performances from the cast in the film. Tell me about the cast and how you guys were able to get into that space where they were able to portray such a interesting and intimate and emotional story because they were fantastic. They really
Thank
were.
Thank you. Yeah, they killed it. I mean, they make me look good. Like Seth Liam Ellis, who plays Elijah Johnson, the 10-year-old kid, he's phenomenal. Such a maturity to him, such an emotional intelligence to him. Like I just from the first self-tape, I immediately was drawn to him. Um, I guess let me backtrack a bit about the process. We did Actors Access and casting networks. So the casting process took about 6 months. And I would say for both characters, it was hard finding the right people because it is such a delicate line. And I was inspired. One of my film inspirations was the Florida Project, because I love the way that film tackles childhood poverty in Central Florida. And Sean Baker, I think he's a genius. I love his work. So at first, I was kind of going for that sort of like innocent, naive, like really childlike tone. But then when I saw Seth do his takes and his monologue, I was like, oh, he has a maturity to him that just feels right. And then it was like, yeah, like there has to be a level of understanding of the severity of the situation. And he just understood it. And he's so emotional, so gifted. His dad's also an actor. So he just like got it. So I love that. And then Andrea is also so amazing. And she also used to be a wheelchair user. She has a leg brace now, but and I'm sure she would love to even be on this podcast and talk about her
Love to talk to
experience
her.
with you. Yeah, she would love to talk with you. But um, just hearing her story was amazing and how our connections aligned, just like with personal stuff. And then she was also just so like naturally connected to the character. And then I had them do a chemistry read together, and then it was like poof,
Yeah.
like I just saw their chemistry really go on set. And I think Andrea even on set too, like she was maybe a bit worried about maybe needing a lot of breaks, because she is the most accurately depicting my mom, playing my mom. There were a lot of able-bodied actresses who auditioned for the role, but I really wanted authenticity as much as possible. And Andrea's story is really inspiring. But like she crushed it. Like I wasn't worried about her on set at all. She like came in ready every day. Like, if she needed a break, we gave her a break, but she was just like ready to go the entire time. And yeah, the cast was just amazing. And I did put things in place to, I told them about my story and a bit about my life to help them kind of understand the severity and the emotional through line of the film. But it truly, like, they already got it. They're just talented actors, so it was easy for them to just connect with it.
Yeah, they did a phenomenal job. And again, hopefully people will be able to see it and whenever it's distributed widely because it sticks with you. And I don't say that lightly. It's truly, truly an amazing film. You're gonna hear me say this over and over and over, but it really is. It really is,
No,
man.
I
It
appreciate
really is a
it.
good film. Let me ask you now quickly. Let me shift a little bit because I met you, as I said, at the Micheaux Film Festival, and my mother always told me you treat people nice because you never know who they are. We were sitting at the mixer and we were just having a good time talking. I never knew I was going to be speaking to the cat that's going to win the award, which is great.
Yeah,
But
I didn't either. I didn't think it
but
was gonna be there.
but let me ask you about your experience with film festivals in general. You're on the circuit now. What have you learned about the role of the film festival in helping you find an audience for your film?
Yeah, I'll just say I've learned a lot. I've learned that first you need a budget for film festivals because they're really expensive. Um, Probably should have planned more for that, but it's okay. I learned for the next one. But I would say, all jokes aside, I would say connection like you said, connection is so key. There's just so many cool stories, so many great people that I've been meeting so far, and our film is in a couple more festivals coming up, so I'm excited for that. But just hearing people's stories, because you're not the only one going through it. I feel like there's so much talent in independent filmmaking right now, and so many talent from people of color and in minority communities who, like, there's just so, like, at the Micheaux Film Festival there were so much great films that need to be seen. and need to be highlighted. And it's hard. I feel like, at times we do have to work harder to get our films out there. But just hearing knowledge from them was so vital. So the connecting was a huge part of it. And then I would also just say, just letting the process be the process. You can't control what festivals will select you. I mean, obviously you got to put your best work out there. You want to make sure that you're proud of your work, but yeah, you can't control if people are going to like it or not. My film didn't get into a lot of festivals before. Now it's starting to blow up, but I would say about 5 months, it was just rejection after rejection. And it really hasn't been until the past couple months where now it's starting to pick up steam and more people are watching it. So I would say believe in your art and know that there is an audience for it, even if it feels like it doesn't, even if it feels like you're just getting rejected over and over again. Just have faith in your product. If you know you're putting your best work out there, just trust the process.
Let me shift gears now and get more into your bio. So you're a very talented guy. You perform and you have performing arts skills in a variety of disciplines. So tell me where you grew up and when did you develop your love for working in the performing arts field?
I I knew I always wanted to be in filmmaking and perform. I think I've just always had that, theater bug or that performing bug, as they say. But again, my family are not in the arts, and it took a lot of convincing. And I think particularly after, everything with my mom, I just felt like I don't know if it was just a dream that I had really that I just held on to and never let go. And I think by senior year of high school, when I started doing plays and like my family saw that, okay, I guess he's a little serious. So I guess we can't convince him to be a lawyer or a doctor or anything. So we'll see where this goes. So I applied for a bunch of art schools, just hoping and praying that I would get into one. And then I got into Emerson College in Boston, studied filmmaking there with a concentration in screenwriting. Um, and yeah, I feel like I'm still learning a lot. I feel like I've always known I've wanted to do this, but it hasn't been until recently that I'm just really coming into my stride and learning my voice, figuring out what stories I want to tell. But I'm really grateful for my college education. It definitely wouldn't be, making the film that I am today without that. But yeah, I graduated from college, moved out to LA. I've been out here for about 4 years now. And yeah, I'm just going for it. Just taking it one day at a time.
There you go, man. And you grew up on the East Coast, is that correct?
I grew up on the East Coast. Yeah, I grew up in Maryland. I lived in North Carolina for a bit as well. Went to school in DC before going to Boston.
Now, again, in addition to being a talented filmmaker and you're also an actor and a dancer, you're also a writer of note. And you recently published your collection of poetry and prose titled I Guess I Am Lonely. Tell me about that and the process you went through to produce your self-published work.
Yeah, that was a project that I had started working on right after college. Um, I'm trying to think. I mean, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. It was definitely one of those cases where like you get out of college and you're like, oh God, what do I do now? And I was like, I'll just publish a poetry book and we'll see what happens. So I wrote it about heartbreak and loneliness and just kind of at the time when I was going through, I wanted to write about love and not looking for love from other people, but finding it in yourself and all that. So, but it was a good process of me finding my voice a little bit and figuring out the stories I want to tell. But I'm really excited I am working on a second poetry book. It's coming out in early 2024. I'm so excited about it. And it's going to dive deeper into, I mean, I always write from a place of honesty and just what I'm going through at the time. And so there is more of, now I'm going through stuff about my career and making money and again, loving yourself. It's still that journey of self-love, but just through a different phase of my life. But I'm really, really excited about it. I feel like I'm just coming into my voice, and yeah, can't wait for people to read it. Yeah.
And so in addition to your book, which will be out in early 2024, what's next for you on the big screen?
Um, yes, we have a bunch of film festivals coming up. We have 5 coming up in the next few months. We have 2 in North Carolina that are coming up. We have 2 in California. One's going to be the Glendale International Film Festival in October. And then we also have the We Make Movies International Film Festival in November. So I'm really excited for both of those. Um, yeah, we're waiting on a couple more festival submissions. And so we're still applying, looking at distribution, figuring out how we can get the film out there as much as possible. Me and my co-director goal to also help me make My Little Caregiver, where we both went to college together as well, and we definitely want to keep making films together. We really want to make a feature, so fingers crossed can get the money for that and tell the right story for that. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep writing, keep working on independent filmmaking. I feel like the craft just never stops. I just want to keep showing people what I can do and keep working on my craft. But yeah, I'm gonna keep writing, keep performing. I have a short film that's coming up that I'm filming at the end of next month, so I'm excited about that. So yeah, a bunch of cool things coming up that I'm really excited about.
Fantastic. Well, Sam, if people want to get more information about you or they want to reach out to you about your film or your book, where can they get information about Sam Solomon?
Yes. You can hit me up on Instagram. My handle is at Solomon's Game. That's SOLOMON and then game GAME. You can also reach out to me at my website, www.samsolomonofficial.com. There's also my film's Instagram, My Little Caregiver. Hope everyone checks that out too, and you'll get a bunch of updates on the film festival circuit and everything there. Yeah, and so yeah, feel free to reach out to me. Don't be a stranger.
Awesome. Well, Sam, I want to thank you so much for coming on the Edric Show. Again, the film is My Little Caregiver, the winner of the Outstanding Dramatic Short at the 2023 Micheaux Film Festival in Los Angeles, coming to a film festival near you. Congratulations on your success, Sam. Well deserved. And again, the film is something that you should be proud of, you and your team, because it is a wonderful story that you've been able to tell. So thank you for sharing that with the world.
Yeah, and thank you for just having the connection. It's again, talk about the importance of festivals. It's festivals
Exactly.
that bring people like us together. So thank you.
Exactly. Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. This has been another edition of the Edric Show. I am your host, Edric Jerome. As promised, this is the place for intelligent conversation with interesting people. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Check us out on Spotify, Instagram, anywhere you get online podcasts. We are there. Thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next episode.